Hey everyone, thanks for checking out another one of our deck techs. Today we've got a green-white mid for standard, and this deck was built by James Bader. Now, I really like this deck because it combines the raw power of the big creatures we come to expect from green and the board control and answers that just makes white so darn fun to play. Now, if we take a look at our list, you can see that while this deck will definitely shine as a mid-range, it holds the possibility to really bust out of the gates quickly with Rishkar and the Virtuous Gearhulk. So let's take a look at our list starting with the creatures. We have 4 Lampholt Pacifists, which they're going to give you a little bit of a board presence early game. And then we have 3 Rishkar Pima Renegade to get the bigger creatures out a little quicker, all while he passes out +1/+1 counters. Now, I called it from the moment I saw him spoiled that he was going to shine. Anytime you can attach mana production like that to a creature, he's just going to be an all-star, and that's pretty much what he's proven. Next, we have 3 Virtuous Gearhulks and 4 Walking Ballistas. When Virtuous Gearhulk enters the battlefield, he distributes 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures you control. So even by himself, he turns into an 8/8 with Trample, which is nothing to scoff at. Or you can use him to just pump your team. Or you can really make friends across the table and put all these counters on your Walking Ballista. Now Ballista is really living up to its name. Lastly, we have 2 Archangel Avacens. Now, she's going to protect your board from kill spells and board wipes. Plus, she's a beast when she flips. So kind of consider this. You play Walking Ballista for 2. Then, next turn, drop a Virtuous Gearhulk and turn the Ballista into a 6/6. When you've gotten in enough damage, and it's really not going to take much, you bring in Avacen, protecting your board. You remove the 6 +1/+1 counters from Walking Ballista and you deal 6 directly to their face. Triggering Avacen, she flips and deals 3 more for a total of 9. Plus, you've got a 6/5 flyer and a 4/4 trample on deck. That's going to be kind of hard to come back from. We have just 3 copies of Heart of Khorne that are going to be making great use of those early game Lampholt Pacifists, along with 9 copies of Walkers in the deck, so you might actually get to use that bottom ability once or twice. And as for the Walkers, we have 4 Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, 4 Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, and an Ajani Unyielding. Now, Nissa is generally going to be putting +1/+1 counters on things, followed by making plant tokens, while Gideon is most likely going to be sacking himself for that +1/+1 emblem, while later copies of him will be making Knight Allies and becoming a 5/5 beater himself. Our single copy of Ajani is mainly for creature removal and some occasional card draw. If you happen to be able to fire off his ultimate, awesome, but I honestly don't see it happening too often. For spot removal, we have 3 copies of Stasis Snare and 2 copies of Declaration in Stone, which should be enough to take care of your opponent's big threats or their blockers. And just in case things start to go south and you need a quick reset button, we have 2 copies of Fumigate. Our sideboard consists of extra copies of Archangel Avacen for those kill spell heavy decks, along with extra copies of Declaration in Stone, Stasis Snare, and Fumigate for extra removal. 4 Authority of the Councils and Fragmentize are going to really slow down those pesky vehicle decks you are bound to run into, as well as help with any kind of aggro deck. Heroic Intervention is there to help prevent a late game board wipe or to help with a stalled out board state. And lastly, we have a Nissa Vital Force for a mid-game boost of an extra attacking creature with a 5/5 land, or for a late game when you want to go and grab that Walking Ballista from your graveyard just so it can be cast and sacked again for those last few points of damage. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this deck tech as much as I did, and if you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you decide to play this deck at your F&M or even just in your circle of friends, let us know how it worked out. I'd like to thank James Bader for sharing this deck with us, and Brandon Devane for his time and help in improving the quality of this channel. And most of all, I'd like to thank you for watching. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, ChuckwagonMTG.